What's going on, guys? Blazing here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me on another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today I want to talk about one of the nukers I've been using quite a bit lately. Just trying to use my Taras in Live Arena isn't helpful, and it's kind of hard trying to pick something else, right? And so I got to look within my roster to build maybe another one or two different nukers, and I decided that attack nukers are great, but I think I need to go a little more defensive. And so for this, I actually built out my Soulless, right? Now, Soulless was actually one of the very first legendary champions I got from Voids. And, he looks awesome, looks great. Did actually end up getting a buff to his kit for the damage multipliers a while back. And, was part of the meta for quite a while, especially now with Live Arena. I feel like he's definitely somebody, if you want to build, right? So let's dive into his kit a little bit. The A1 attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, right? Books up to 50%. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first pulled him, I didn't book him. I 6-starred him because I used him for Faction Wars because he had a buff strip, so that was pretty solid. But, with the current state of Arena, with Polymorph being in the game, it does make him kind of a sheep fest, right? But overall, really solid A1. A2, sorry. Attacks 3 enemies at random. Each hit has a 75% chance to remove all buffs, right? So that is a buff strip right there. It books up to 100%, which is solid, especially when you're going up against those Valkyrie waves in Faction Wars. So great to have, right? Also places a provoke for 1 turn. If buffs were removed by the skill, the provoke debuff cannot be resisted. So do you build them with accuracy? Well, depends, right? Do you want to really, land that provoke? Do you want to really buff strip? Do you really want to become a sheep? That is up to you. But I'll show you guys my build in a little bit. We do put 4 books into it. Ignore that. That was my Apple Watch. It decides to be annoying every time I'm recording. I don't know why. But the 4 books are pretty solid, right? Not too much. Now, the A3, which is his big money-hitting ability, and I've seen this thing, man, it just destroys some teams, right? Attacks all enemies, increases the duration of all debuffs on each target by 1 turn, then places a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns, equal to 30% of the damage inflicted. Damage increased by 10% for each debuff on the target. Now, this books down to a 4-turn cooldown. The shield, you can gain an extra 20% on top of the 30. So you're talking about 36%, and you're getting about 10% more damage for the book. The meta used to be Madame will buff strip, and then he would just get a shield as big as his HP bar was. It's kind of fun to have him, with that kind of a shield. And I am currently working on something for Hydra, which I think you guys will love with Soulless. But let's get into his build and some, live arena play. All right, so let's see here what we're going to be able to accomplish, right? Can we get our boy Soulless in the team? Let's go ahead and pick the champion that's going to enable us first, which is going to be our Sifi. Ignore that. That was my Apple Watch. It goes off anytime I need to do a video, so yeah. All right, let's go Taras, Marichka. Give him something to be scared about, hopefully take one of them out. And I think the last 2 are going to be, let's go, yeah, we'll go with Soulless and we'll go with Kymar. Okay, Kymar, Soulless, let's go. Looking at this, I am thinking probably UDK. Probably UDK. Although, if I take out the Duchess, he doesn't have a revive, can't enable the LiQWYD. So that might also be a solid as well. Okay. So we'll go ahead and ban the Duchess. He took out my Kymar. Perfectly fine. I'll probably end up getting locked out with the Warlord because I doubt my Sifi or my Marichka is fast enough. Although it does depend on how fast his Warlord is, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be faster. Yeah. The only thing I can hope for is that there we go. That was perfect. Let's go ahead and All right, A3 from Soulless. Boom. Wow. Took them all out. Okay. Now, let's see how much that Leorius is going to smack for. Not a lot. All right, let's go ahead and take out this guy first. Not too concerned about the UDK's A2 right there. That's fine. There we go. I'll just throw this on auto and wait till either he leaves or, you know, we're done. Yeah, so Soulless, I mean, OG, right? Really solid nuker right here. I remember on this account where he was like one of my first voids that I pulled. I was like, wow, this guy looks cool. But, you know, I didn't have anything to enable him, right? I didn't have any Doom Screeches back then. I definitely didn't have a CFI. So it was not something I really wanted to play around with, but he was the meta for a little while. You know, obviously now he's fallen off the meta because of Taurus and Marichka, but can he still be a viable nuker? Of course. You know, it's all going to depend on the build of what you do. You know, brings in the buff strip as well too, so when you do get these annoying Helicats, it's going to help you, right? This guy's kind of regretting not banning him and leaving maybe the Kaimar. I don't know, but there we go. Almost there. There we go. All right, so let me show you guys how I have him built. All right, so Soulless, what do we have him built with? What are you going to want to build him with, right? Well, first things first, always damage dealers. Lethal is going to be the best set, then Savage, then Instinct. Now, for him, there's a couple of different sets you could use. Obviously, he's not going to gain anything from attack, but if you do want to build him with a little bit of accuracy, you could. Again, that does make it, you know, a little bit of a sheep fest right there, but you could use speed, right? Especially in Live Arena, we want to be a minimum of like 2 to 250 on, you know, the gold tiers. But 200, I feel like, is the absolute minimum you want to use, right? So the second set could be whatever you really want. Could be a defense set, could be a resilience set, to be quite honest, right? It does help. Anything to basically increase survivability and the defense. Now, refresh accessories are going to be great for him. He's a defensive nuker, so do we really care about, you know, reaction? Depends on, you know, how well you have him built, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Refresh, again, if you can put 2 refresh, 1 reaction, that's going to be pretty solid for you. Now, as for the build, 45k HP is what we currently have him. Ideally, I want to try to push that to about 50 to get, you know, a little more survivability because I don't have any reaction on him. 5.5k defense, not a lot. I definitely could try to build a little more on there. I would be looking for closer to 6.5, 7,000. 216 speed, not as fast as I want him to be. Ideally, I want to have him, again, 225 to, you know, 250. So we're going to have to use some glyphs. 100% crit rate is a must, right? 251 crit damage. Now, as for resistance and accuracy, resistance, you could put a little bit on like I did, along with some accuracy, because if he does get polymorphed, it gives him a chance to resist it. But the 200 mark isn't going to do a lot. You'd be looking closer to like 350. So now, you know, it's not something I would really try to build out for. It just so happened that in this build, it worked out. As for the skills, ideally, you want to book out the A2 and the A3. If you can book out the A1, if you don't land any books in the A1, you'll be happy. If you land them in, that's fine too, right? As for Blessing, I have Brimstone on mine, and that's partially because I'm using him in some Hydra runs video coming soon. But ideally, what you'd want to take is probably Polymorph, right? Give him a little more defense, a little more HP, speed. Anything else you could take, maybe some Temporal Chains. Bone Armor could help if you really want to, right? As for Masteries, well, we did go down the support and defense tree. And again, that's because I'm using him in some Hydra runs to do some playtesting. But ideally, you really want to have him in Helm Smasher, right? Kill Streak works well, Methodical, and Bring It Down. Now, if you are going to follow the support tree, you could take Spirit Haste, you could take Lore of Steel, and you could take Cycle of Magic. Ideally, you really want to come down the defense tree and, you know, kind of take Retribution, Delay of Death, and Harvest Despair. Sorry. But Hopefully, you know, this helped you out, guys. If it did, give me a thumbs up on the video. And as always, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.